It started with a Slack message that landed like a threat, not a reminder. Attendance at Liam's promotion party is mandatory. Show up, or don't bother showing up tomorrow. It was 10:47 p.m. I was lying on the couch, laptop half open, checking in on my father's prescriptions before bed. My boss, Dana, had never texted that late before. I thought it was a joke at first. Maybe another one of her team bonding stunts. But the words, "don't bother showing up tomorrow," froze me. I stared at them for a full minute, thumb hovering above the screen. I'd been with the company 3 years. No write-ups, no issues. Just a quiet systems engineer who did his job, stayed late when needed, and rarely said no. I wasn't the drinking, socializing type. I didn't fit the family culture Dana loved to preach about, the one where you're supposed to treat unpaid overtime and forced fun like loyalty tests. I typed, "Dana, the party's after hours. Is attendance really mandatory?" She replied instantly, "Yes. Don't make this difficult, Mark. It's about showing team spirit. Performance reviews are coming up." That was her favorite phrase. Team spirit. It was how she got people to work Saturdays without pay, how she kept interns running errands during lunch breaks, how she made volunteering for after-hours parties sound like part of your job description. I scrolled up through our previous messages, same tone, same subtle threats, and hit screenshot. I sent the image to my personal email along with a note to myself. Document everything. By midnight, Shad added me to a group chat called Mandatory Fun. The title felt like mockery. I opened it and saw a dozen coworkers reacting with fake enthusiasm. Someone posted a photo of the venue, a sleek downtown bar with private booths and an open bar tab. Dana pinned a message. "Attendance will be logged. See you all Friday at 7. Don't be the one we have to talk about Monday." I knew what that meant. The next morning, I brought it up to HR. I didn't accuse her outright, just asked a simple question. Can attendance at after-hours events be required under threat of termination? The HR rep smiled in that glazed-over corporate way and said, "We just encourage participation, Mark. You know Dana. She's passionate about engagement. Be a team player." Translation, you're on your own. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with my father's TV murmuring in the background. He was still recovering from a second stroke, the kind that leaves a man half there but still fighting. I looked at him, then at the Slack notification blinking on my phone. "Reminder! Mandatory fun!" and felt something burn low and steady in my chest. I wasn't quitting, but I wasn't going to be quiet either. So I printed the employee handbook, highlighted the section titled Work Hours, Voluntary Events, and Retaliation. I saved it as a PDF, attached it to a draft email addressed to myself, and wrote one line in the body. For record, event coerced under threat of job loss. Per Donna, timestamp. Then I hit send. Friday came too soon. At 6:45 p.m., I was already standing outside the bar. The sky hung low and heavy, the kind of evening that smelled like spilled beer before the first drink was poured. My coworkers laughed by the entrance, already tipsy from pre-gaming. Inside, I saw a banner stretched across the wall. "Congrats, Liam, new project lead." Liam, the golden boy, loud, charismatic, connected, the kind of guy who called Dana by her first name and made crude jokes about tech guys hiding in basements. He saw me walk in and raised his glass. "Mark, you actually showed. Guess threats work, huh?" Everyone laughed. Dana stood by the bar, perfectly polished in her sleeveless blazer, holding a glass of champagne she probably wasn't paying for. "Glad you made it," she said. "You'll drive some of the guys home later, right? You don't drink." It wasn't a question. I smiled just enough to be polite. "Sure, but I'll need receipts. Company event, right?" Her expression flickered for half a second before snapping back into place. "Of course, Mark. Just relax tonight. Try having fun for once." But I wasn't here for fun. Every word, every tone, every smirk, I logged it in my head like code running silently in the background. The same way I debug servers, I was debugging this culture. At 8:10 p.m., Dana made a toast. To Liam, the kind of employee who shows up for the team. She looked straight at me when she said it. Laughter. Applause. I raised my glass of soda, the ice already half melted. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A direct message from her mid-toast. Smile, Mark. It's good for optics. That was the exact moment I decided I wasn't just documenting anymore. I was preparing. When the night ended, and it would end, I wanted every thread, every threat, and every receipt in place. Not for revenge, for proof, because something told me that by Monday morning, this wouldn't just be about a party. It would be a case. The bar was already humming when I stepped inside. Neon lights spilled over the polished tables, and the smell of cheap whiskey mixed with designer perfume. The company had rented the entire lounge, a team celebration, according to the invitation, but it felt more like a trap disguised as a party. Dana stood near the front, clipboard in hand, checking names off as people arrived. Not even subtle about it. Mark, she said, dragging out my name like it tasted bitter. Glad to see you made the effort. Just following orders, I said, smiling thinly. She laughed a little too loudly. You make it sound so dramatic. It's called being part of a family. Family? That word again. The corporate cult keyword for obedience. Inside, balloons shaped like champagne bottles hung over a cake, with Liam's smug grins printed in edible ink. The music was loud enough to drown small talk, but not loud enough to hide the hierarchy. Sales and management at the center, junior staff on the edges, pretending to belong. I spotted Nina, the new intern, nursing a soda at the far table, eyes darting between exits like she was calculating escape routes. I knew the look. I made my way to the bar, ordered a Coke, and paid with my own card. The bartender glanced up. Corporate's covering everything tonight, he said. Not for me, I replied. Need my own receipt. He shrugged, printed it, and slid it over. I folded it neatly into my wallet. Liam arrived fashionably late, wearing a jacket worth more than my rent. Ladies and gents, he shouted, arms wide. To the best damn team in the business. Drinks on me. Technically on the company. But you know what I mean. Laughter erupted. Dana clinked her glass against his, looking at him like a proud mother. He gave her a wink that made my stomach turn, the kind of wink that said, We're untouchable. As the night unfolded, the unspoken rules revealed themselves. No one could leave before Donna did. No one could stay sober unless they wanted to be labeled not a team player. Every toast came with a round of shots, and Dana was making mental notes of who refused. I stayed quiet, documenting. My phone lay face down on the table, voice memo recording the whole thing. Not because I wanted dirt, because I knew what she'd deny later. By 9 p.m., Dana's cheeks glowed red, her voice pitched higher with every drink. She leaned close to a group of analysts, slurring slightly. You think promotions happen by accident? You think it's just hard work? No, it's about who shows up, who knows how to celebrate. She said that last word like it was sacred. Across the room, Liam was in full showman mode, telling crude jokes, slapping backs, basking in applause. Hey, Mark, he shouted. Come on, have one drink. You're killing the vibe. I held up my soda. Already got one. Ah, right, he said with a smirk. Our resident buzzkill. Remind me why you even work here? You don't even network. Dana laughed. The kind of laugh that travels. The kind that tells everyone which side to be on. Lighten up, she said. You can afford to have a little fun. It's Liam's night, not a board meeting. Of course, I said. I'll make sure to log it properly. She blinked. What? Nothing, I said. Just making sure I keep accurate records. Attendance, time, expenses. The usual. Something flickered in her eyes. Suspicion? Maybe just confusion. Either way, she changed the subject fast. Around 10 p.m., the tone shifted. The laughter got looser, the lines blurrier. Someone started a drinking game involving compliments that turned into dares. Dana didn't stop it. She encouraged it. "That's the spirit," she yelled, banging her glass on the table. "Bonding builds trust." But what it built was evidence. When the bar tab came, Dana waved her hand. "We'll split it evenly," she said, scribbling numbers on a napkin. "Evenly?" I asked. "I didn't drink." She looked at me like I'd spoken another language. "It's called fairness, Mark. Everyone contributes. You're on the team, aren't you?" I glanced at the total, won that $240. She wanted everyone to chip in $80. I pulled a 20, covered my soda, and set it down. "That covers me," I said. Her smile tightened. "Don't make this ugly." "Just being accurate," I said. "Wouldn't want accounting to get confused." The table went silent. For a second, only the bass from the speakers filled the air. Liam leaned in, voice slick. "Man, you really need to learn when to shut up." I stood. "And you really need to learn when to stop talking." Dana stepped between us, forcing a smile for the watching coworkers. "Gentlemen, let's not ruin the evening. Mark, we'll discuss this Monday." I nodded. "I'm sure we will." Before I left, I pulled out my phone and snapped a photo of the bar tab, time-stamped, visible total, Dana's handwriting in the corner. Then another shot of the pinned mandatory fun chat on my screen. Every piece of this night was falling neatly into place. Outside, the air was cold and damp, heavy with the smell of rain and exhaust. I waited near the curb as two of my coworkers stumbled out. They'd had too much. I got them a ride share, paid up front, and saved the digital receipt. As the car pulled away, I checked my phone. One new message from Dana. "Last warning, Mark. Participate or face consequences." I stared at the screen for a long moment, then took a slow breath. I didn't reply with words this time, just attached the message to my existing email chain labeled Documentation Dana. Then I hit send, because she didn't know it yet, but the game had already started. By 10:30 p.m., the party had soured. The laughter had that hollow, forced quality that comes right before things start to go wrong. People weren't celebrating anymore. They were surviving the night. And Dana? She was circling the room like a shark that smelled weakness. I sat at the edge of the chaos, nursing another Coke, watching the clock. I had everything I needed: screenshots, receipts, audio, timestamps, but something in me said, "Stay a little longer." The air felt charged, like the moment before lightning hits. Across the bar, Liam had found a new audience. Nina, the intern. She'd been trying to leave since sneak out, but Dana had told her, "It's good for your visibility." Now Liam was cornering her near the wall, one hand on her chair, the other waving a glass around. His voice carried above the music. "Come on, you're too quiet," he said, leaning closer. "Let's get another round. I'll teach you how to celebrate a real promotion." Nina laughed nervously, that small, desperate laugh people use when they're trying to stay safe. I saw her glance toward the exit. No one else noticed. Or maybe they did, and just didn't want to. Then Liam reached out and touched her wrist. She flinched. I stood up. Dana caught sight of me and raised an eyebrow. "Mark," she called over, "don't tell me you're leaving already." I ignored her, walked straight to where Nina sat. "Hey," I said lightly, "your ride share's outside." She blinked, confused. "I didn't order." "I did," I said quietly. "Let's go." Liam laughed. "Whoa, relax, hero. We're just talking." "Yeah," I said, and now she's leaving. Dana appeared beside us, eyes sharp, smile tight. "Mark, you're overstepping. This is not your concern?" "An intern's safety is always my concern," I said. "Company policy, remember?" Her smile broke. "You just cost yourself your job." The entire bar went silent. Then she said it again, louder, her words slurred with wine and anger. "You hear me, Mark? You're done." Nina looked like she wanted to disappear. Liam backed off, muttering something about people being too sensitive. I guided her toward the door, my phone already recording in my pocket. Outside, the bouncer glanced up from his stool. "She all right?" he asked. "She is now," I said. He nodded slowly. I saw that guy bothering her earlier. You did good, man. Could I get your name? I asked. He hesitated, then told me. I typed it down. Witness number 1. I waited until Nina got into the car, handed her the door, and said quietly, If anyone gives you trouble about this, tell HR you spoke with me. Her eyes were wet. Thank you, she whispered. When I went back inside, the atmosphere had shifted. Dana was waiting by the bar, arms crossed. You made a scene, she said. I stopped one, I replied. You embarrassed a senior employee. Do you understand the kind of liability you just created for this company? Yeah, I said. I do. Her jaw tightened. You're finished here. You already said that, I said calmly and held up my phone, showing the red dots still blinking on the screen, the audio recordings still rolling. Say it one more time for the file. Her face drained of color. Are you threatening me? No, just documenting. She lunged for the phone, actually grabbed the lanyard around my neck with one hand, yanking it hard enough that it snapped. The camera caught everything. Her face, the motion, the sound of her saying, Delete that now, or I'll... I stepped back. You should probably stop talking. The bartender was watching now. So were 3 employees at the next table. No one said a word, but I didn't need them to. The footage would speak for itself. I left before she could try again. Outside, the rain had started. Thin, misty sheets that blurred the neon into streaks of red and blue. My hands were shaking, but my head was clear. I knew exactly what I had to do. I walked 2 blocks to my car, sat inside, and opened my laptop. It took 10 minutes to upload everything. Screenshots, voice memos, photos of the bar tab, the group chat exports, the audio recording, and the new video file from tonight. The subject line of the email read, Retaliation, Coercion, and Workplace Misconduct. Urgent documentation. Recipients. HR Director, General Counsel, Ethics Hotline, CCD. Body. Attached are materials documenting a pattern of coercive conduct and retaliation by Supervisor Dana K. Following a mandatory after-hours event under threat of termination, further misconduct occurred involving harassment of an intern and physical intimidation. Request immediate preservation of venue footage and witness statements. Case reference seconds pending. I attached everything, hit send, and watched the spinning wheel until it confirmed delivery. Then I sat there in the car, the sound of rain against the windshield like static. My phone buzzed once more. A Slack notification. Dana. We need to talk first thing Monday. I smiled to myself. Yeah, I said quietly. We will. And somewhere deep down, I knew by Monday she wouldn't be the one leading that conversation. Monday morning felt unnaturally still. The kind of quiet you get right before a thunderstorm. The elevator ride to the 5th floor took only 20 seconds, but my pulse stretched it into minutes. My badge still worked. That was my first sign that the night's events had already reached someone above Dana. The office was too cheerful for a Monday. People were whispering near the coffee machine, glancing at me, then quickly looking away. Someone had posted photos from Friday's party on the company Slack. But the album was gone by 8 a.m. Deleted. When I reached my desk, my computer wouldn't log in. Access denied. I didn't panic. I just sat down, opened my personal phone, and typed a note. Account lockout at 8:14 a.m. following report submission. Possible retaliation. Then I waited. At 8:26, Dana appeared. Her smile was brittle, her eyes bloodshot. Conference room, now. I stood. Sure. Inside, she was already playing boss again. Voice clipped, body stiff, pretending control she didn't have. Mark, she started. After reviewing your recent behavior, I've decided to terminate your employment, effective immediately. No witnesses, no HR, just her and a printed form she'd probably filled out last night. She slid it across the table like a death sentence. You can't terminate me, I said quietly, while there's an open ethics investigation. Her expression froze. What investigation? The one HR and legal received at 11:48 p.m. Friday night. You might want to check your inbox. She blinked. Once. Twice. Then the door opened. HR director, legal counsel, and the VP of operations walked in. Dana's mouth fell open mid-breath. "Good morning," said the VP. "We'll take it from here." The room shifted, the kind of shift you can feel. Power rearranging itself. Dana started to speak, but HR cut her off. "Dana," the director said evenly, "we've received multiple reports and supporting materials from Friday's event. We're conducting a formal investigation. You are to refrain from contacting any employees involved, including Mark." What reports?" she sputtered. "That party was mandatory team building." Legal dropped a folder onto the table. Inside were printed screenshots. Her Slack threats, the group chat, even the message, "Last warning, Mark. Participate or face consequences." Then came the photos. The bar tab, her handwriting, her grip on my lanyard, frozen on video stills from the venue's security feed. And finally Nina's written statement, signed and dated. The VP looked at her like she was already gone. "You told staff attendance was mandatory after hours, under threat of termination?" "It was just enthusiasm," she said, voice rising. "They want to be part of the team." "Did you call that same event off the clock in your expense report?" Legal asked it. Dana went silent. I sat quietly. Not triumphant, just tired. HR turned to me. "Mark, we've reviewed your submission. Thank you for documenting everything so thoroughly. We're placing you on paid administrative leave pending resolution. Do you have any additional notes you'd like added to the file?" "Yes," I said. 2 things. First, several employees were coerced into drinking. Second, Nina, the intern, deserves protection. She's afraid to come in?" They nodded. The VP scribbled a note. "She'll be contacted privately today. We're freezing all current promotions and expenses tied to that event." Dana's face had gone pale. "You can't just—" "We can," Legel interrupted, "and we have to." She tried to stand, but HR's tone sharpened. "Dana, please remain seated. You're suspended effective immediately, pending review for cause." Her voice cracked. "This is ridiculous. You're believing him? He's been difficult for months." The VP closed the folder. "No, Dana. We're believing the evidence." Silence filled the room. They escorted her out. The door clicked shut. When she was gone, HR exhaled slowly, then looked at me with something almost like respect. "I won't lie, Mark. That was brave. Most people don't document this kind of behavior so carefully." "I wasn't being brave," I said. "Just tired of being threatened for doing my job." The VP gave a small nod. "We're making this right. We'll reach out about next steps once the investigation closes. For now, go home. Rest." I left the building without looking back. My badge still worked when I swiped out, but I knew hers wouldn't by noon. By evening, the rumors were everywhere. Donna's name disappeared from the company Slack directory. Liam's profile changed to inactive. HR sent a company-wide email about ongoing policy reviews and cultural reinforcement. Translation: they were cleaning house. That night, I sat on my porch with my father, watching the streetlights flicker on. He was quieter now, slower, but when he looked at me, he knew. "You did something today," he said. "Yeah," I answered. "Finally," he nodded once. "About time, son." The next morning, I got an email from legal. "Pending outcome, you are entitled to reinstatement with a new supervisor or severance plus full back pay and legal coverage. Please confirm your preference." I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I typed back, "Let's talk terms," because I wasn't done yet. Not until the company that tried to silence me learned exactly how loud the truth could be. 3 weeks later, the office didn't look the same. HR called it a restructuring for cultural accountability, but everyone knew what it really was, a purge. Dana was gone, officially terminated for cause. Liam's promotion was rescinded and his profile scrubbed from the internal site. And for the first time in years, no one was afraid to exhale in meetings. I wasn't back yet. My leave had been extended. To support a smooth transition, legal had said, but I knew the truth. They were negotiating. The morning I returned to finalize everything, the air outside smelled like early spring and asphalt. I walked through the glass doors without scanning my badge. Security already waved me through. The VP of Operations was waiting in a smaller conference room this time. No drama, no pretense, just business. "Mark," he said, standing to shake my hand, "thank you for your patience. We've completed the investigation." I sat. "And?" He opened a thin folder. Inside was everything I'd been building toward. The official summary. Supervisor Dana K. terminated for cause, violation of ethics policy, and workplace retaliation clause. Employee Liam. B. Demoted, subject to conduct review and training. Nina R. Retained, transferred to another department, with mentorship and pay adjustment. Company policy, revised. Attendance at any after-hours event cannot be tied to performance reviews or employment status. Then he slid a second envelope toward me. My settlement. Full back pay for all overtime logged under voluntary events, he said. Severance equal to 3 months' salary. Legal fees reimbursed, and a neutral to positive reference letter signed by HR and operations. I scanned the last page. There was one more paragraph. One that didn't come from their lawyers. It read, "We are implementing a new compliance clause for all leadership. Mandatory paid attendance options or opt-outs for any corporate gathering outside work hours. Alcohol-serving events require a designated HR chaperone. Employee consent is non-negotiable." That was my clause. My signature was next to it. "Good," I said quietly. He hesitated. "You know, we'd like you to stay. You've got credibility now. People listen to you." I looked at the window, where the skyline reflected against the conference table like glass stacked on water. "I'm not sure I want to be the guy they remember for this," he nodded. "Fair enough. But I hope you know, you changed something here." I signed the last document, closed the folder, and stood. That was the point. As I walked out, I passed HR. The same woman who'd told me to be a team player that first morning gave me a quick nod. Respectful this time. No small talk, just acknowledgement. Outside, the air felt different, lighter. I stopped by the same downtown bar on my way home, the one where it had all started. Through the window, I saw a handful of employees from my old department sitting stiffly at a table, drinking soda and eating pizza under fluorescent lights. No shots, no forced smiles, just quiet conversation. On the far wall, someone had taped a new poster. "Team events are voluntary. Your time matters." I almost laughed. Across the street, the same bouncer from that night leaned against the wall, scrolling his phone. When he looked up, he recognized me instantly. "Hey," he called, smiling. "You're the guy who stepped in, right?" "Yeah," I said. "Guess so." He nodded toward the sign. "Looks like you did some good." "Maybe," I said. "At least now they can drink in peace." He chuckled, shook his head, and went back to his phone. I kept walking, past the bar, past the glowing windows, into the clean, open air. For the first time in months, I wasn't angry. I wasn't anxious. Just finished. At a stoplight, my phone buzzed. A message from Nina. "They made it official. HR promoted me to junior analyst. Couldn't have happened without you. Thank you." I stared at the screen for a moment, then typed back, "You earned it. Take care of yourself." The light turned green. As I crossed the street, I thought about Dana. Somewhere out there, probably rewriting her resume, pretending none of this happened, and maybe it didn't matter. Maybe karma didn't always come with headlines. Sometimes it came quietly, in policy memos and signatures, and a company forced to face its reflection. The city hummed around me, ordinary, uncaring, alive. I breathed in, exhaled slow, and smiled. Because in a world where people like her thrived on silence, I had turned silence into proof, and that, I decided, was enough.